Hello, and welcome to the second step of how to get out of the matrix. I started it yesterday. Basically, I was out running a few days ago and I got this download thing, which is how it often happens. And it was like the four steps: boom, 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 boom. So I just follow and see what happens. So the first one was yesterday about how we have to realize that we actually live in a matrix or in an illusion, a dream, an overlay, and most of us don't know, or we just probably know it somewhere as a as an idea or something we've read or heard, but we may not really know what it means. So of course, what are you going to do with that? It's like, oh, that's nice, but here's my life, right? So today I'm going to start talking about the importance of really learning what this matrix or dream is. And that's, of course, is a huge subject that there's no way I can ever cover, and specifically not in these short videos. But I'm just going to share what I have experienced and what comes through. And, if it resonates, great. I want to just start saying that about, maybe it's 6 months ago, there was just so much about the illusion. It's not that I see through the illusion like permanently at all, but it's something that's just here with me and apparently wants to share itself. So what happened maybe 5, 6 months ago, I started writing. I was like, is this going to be a book? What is this? And the first title that came was, If It's All an Illusion, What's the Big Effin' Deal? And I thought, oh, that's cool. That's fun. And then I started writing about what the big effing deal is. And I'm going to read a little bit today about what I wrote. But then it changed because I realized that's probably not the best title, but it kind of sparked me. And then the title now, if it ever is going to be a book, who knows, is How to Transcend the Illusion Without the Spiritual Bypass. And that is very much part of my expression and sharing and work, is to help everybody unhook. And then when you're unhooked, you know who you are. And then you can see that this is actually not very real. So the second step is very much realizing that everything we see, hear, taste, touch, smell, think, believe, that is part of the expression of the illusion. I don't know if it's part of, that is basically illusion. And because I have been with Joel Goldsmith's teachings for so many years, and that's a huge part of his expression, if not all of it. People got healed from all kind of problems, financial, health problems, relationship problems. I mean, you name it. And it's not because he did anything. He just knew who you are, and that this appearance is nothing. It has no power. It's basically nothing. And with that realization of it, which is what it was for him, it went poof. Not always all at once, but little by little, that illusion that was trying to suggest that it's real, it just didn't have any power. And that's another big part of his teaching, that it has no power. But the way we live, we give our power to everything out there. And Joel also says, an illusion cannot be projected out because an illusion is not real. And that's why it's happening in the mind, in the five sense mind. And when I got this whole thing, it was one of those, oh, the five sense mind. It felt like it's one thing. And everything is happening in the mind through our senses, where the senses is, of course, what feels very real. If it's just a belief or a thought in the mind, we can say, not sure. But when it comes through the five senses, it feels mighty real, doesn't it? Unbelievably real. So we need to start recognizing that, again, like what we see, hear, taste, touch, smell, and think, believe. That is the matrix, the dream, the illusion. And that is what we are going to wake up from. And many of us probably are in that process. I'm going to read a little bit to you from what I started writing 5 or 6 months ago, just to share what came through there. And then you can just see how that lands for you. So the big effing deal is that we do not know that this is an illusion. And we trust our five senses more than our inner stillness, our inner presence, our inner intuition, knowing. And we believe this illusion is personal. That's why we take everything so personal. And we give our power to what we can see, hear, taste, touch, and smell and believe. We give our power to it immediately. And because we are emotionally attached to it. So I would say when you have these beliefs and it runs through your body and through your senses, that makes it feel like it's real. And then our emotions get involved in it. And then nobody's going to talk you out of it because you can prove it. It's like, this is real. Prove me wrong, right? And also that we actually enjoy the experience and we want it to continue, at least the good parts. So that's probably why this non-existing thing is such a big effing deal, because we are fully immersed in it and it's very hard to get out of it. Now, I think that when we have come to a place in our life where we've lived it, we've basically had enough of all the insanity that's going on. We don't really find true pleasure in anything anymore. We might try things out and it may be fun for a while, but there isn't that deep resonance as what we have when we are fully immersed in it. Whether it's good or bad, it's like this emotional experience that makes us feel alive. And when that starts dwindling, that's when you start thinking, that sentence, right? Is this what life is about? And that's when we start turning to spiritual teachings to see if there are other answers than we have had so far. And it's a beautiful process because that's when you can start turning here. Instead of here, now we start turning here. But of course, the problem is that the outside is still fully alive in us and feels very true. So we may just go into meditation for a while and feel a little bit of relief. But as soon as we open our eyes, right, senses here, it's right there and it feels very, very real. So real that we get sucked right into it. So I would say that this concept, if it is a concept, or the reality that this is all an illusion, is not something everybody wants to listen to at all, because most people are still very involved in their life and they enjoy it. And there's no reason for them to turn within. So, of course, it's only for those of us who have basically had enough, and don't find any fulfillment. Then there is often a barren time where, I'm not interested in this anymore, and I'm not really this is not realized anymore. So we're in this in-between state, which can be challenging. I would certainly say I've been there for on and off. It comes and goes, and then it takes you to a deeper level. So I want to read a little bit more of what I wrote. We think we can improve the illusion, which in many cases is true, yet it is still an illusion, right? Improving an illusion is still an illusion. And it's kind of like you have heard the term moving around the deck chairs on the Titanic, and that's been used a lot by spiritual teachers. So the alternative would be to wake up from the dream and then put all your attention on who you really are. And then in that process, that's where the unhooking happens. And the challenge here is to not do the spiritual bypass where you just completely deny all that while your whole nervous system, your senses is fully identified with it. And then you go here, but until you can really unhook from it, and there's many ways to do that. I have my specific ways, and see through it at some point. When you start seeing through it, then the attachment goes away, and you realize I don't want that, and then that grasping thing onto it, it stops. You just pull back and you see it, and you don't give it as much attention as you have in the past. Now, in that process, you might lose some friends, some situations you're in, because it just doesn't resonate anymore. And that's perfectly okay. It's perfectly, actually really important, because that's when you can even pull back more than before. And it's going to be challenging because we have our attachments to our friends and families. So that needs to be met with love and kindness so that we can let it go from a place of love. So there's no stickiness in it anymore. So let me read a little more. Oh yeah, what I want to say, this journey, I would say it is probably one of the most challenging on the planet to let go of the whole illusion. It doesn't just happen because you really have to let go of everything. I had a friend recently, he said something like, yeah, there's still some things I want to hold on to. And that's for all of us, right? We still want the good. So that's why we're not fully letting go. And that, of course, is because we don't know yet that when we fully let go here, this can fully take over and not just give little spurts here and there when we go there. But fully letting go it seems next to impossible until it just starts happening, because we have let go enough and have enough attention on who we truly are. And then that can take over the dissolving of the illusion. And that is usually when we get downloads or insights, and you go like, oh, that's not even real, or why did I take that so seriously or personally? And then you can let it go more. And as when you let go more, you have more energy available to put here. So it is a self-reinforcing process by doing it. But we still have to do the work. It doesn't just happen. I haven't met anybody where it just happened and then it was over. Some people think it did, and then they have all this sticky stuff still, lots of bypassing, and they can be very uncomfortable to be around because they're not true. It's all mental. So what I wanted to also say is that there are so many words for the matrix. And when I was writing, I was just looking up, and it's just mind blowing how many words there really are for it, which is an indication that there's probably something to it, and it's for us to go on that discovery. So I'll just mention a few here. Well, There's a lot. Joel called it error, the nature of error. But there's all these here: illusion, maya, lila, mesmerism, hypnotism, 5 cent mind, error, misidentification, misperception, veil, mirage. That's a good one because that's one we can all relate to in the desert. Matrix, dream, programming, trance, believe in two powers or believe in good and evil. The counterfeit, that's a really great one too. Or the overlay, the simulation, virtual reality or virtual reality headset. That's also a great one to kind of use to help your mind see what it is. There's the tempter, some call it the devil or Satan. There's the hologram or an optical illusion. And then there's one called Vertigo by Paul Levy. So these are all interesting terms and so many, right? It's amazing how many ways to describe an illusion, which is basically nothing. But because it's been programmed into us and all the way through our bodies and senses, it is so real. So by recognizing that everything you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, and think is basically the illusion, that's huge, right? Where do you even start? And that may also be different for everyone. I think a good starting place is to start to start practicing to not react to what's going on in the world, because your reaction is basically the hook, the emotional reaction. So as a practice, I would invite you to just try next time something happens. You might read the news or your friend is upset with you or who knows what. And just notice what happens in your body. We're not talking about suppressing it or bypassing it. We're talking about letting yourself feel what happens in your body. It might be a contraction, it might be an angry explosion. Just breathe into it if you can, or at least in the beginning, just notice like, oh, I'm reacting to this. Oh, I'm getting angry about this. And then you start turning in to see how you go from the inside out to hook onto the illusion or the dream. The more you are able to not react or touch it, which I often talk about, like an emotional touching it, right? It's like, ooh, let me just stay here. The easier it gets to recognize what is going on out there, that it is not real. It's going to take some time, and there's times where it might be harder than others. So that would be my invitation today, to just practice not touching it by your emotions and not letting your mind take off on it. But that's when you really pull back your energy and take responsibility for your energy, for how you may feed this 5 cent mind illusion, that you're actually feeding it. And the more you don't do that, then you become just more still and you walk through the world with a still presence. And that presence, that is it's a higher, lighter frequency that knows what to do. You'll have to start experiencing it. But for me, it's like an oozing. I love the word oozing. I always say that. I feel like spirit is oozing, and I'm just not doing anything. I'm just allowing the oozing to happen. And my job is just to be still and make myself open vessel for this. So if that is something you are moved to do, try it out. There's also a little example when I talk about these things. I had a conversation with a friend a while ago about this, and he says, we were sitting in the car talking, and he touches his steering wheel and says, "So are you telling me that this is not real?" Bang, bang, bang. And I totally understand that argument, because it feels real. Hey, I can touch it. It's real. It's hard. It's warm. It's cold. It's whatever. I can feel it. It's real. And my answer to that basically is it is as real as if you were touching that steering wheel in a dream. And then when you wake up from the dream, you can ask yourself, is that steering wheel real that I touched in the dream? And that's kind of how it is with everything. That's why this is such a huge subject. But hey, it was a little download a few days ago, and I'm just going to put it out. I have no idea where it's going to go, but I sure would love your feedback and see if it resonates or if there's something missing that you would like to hear or to share. I think that would be wonderful. So this was the second step. And then the next two steps are coming up the next few days. And the third one is, you have to realize who you truly are as a divine expression, which is separate from the mind of the matrix or the illusion. It has nothing to do with it. It's just the illusion is an overlay. It's just a veil that's there that we see through and feel through. But when we realize that we are something so different than that, then we can put more energy here and really learn what it is and how to trust it. And this is, of course, my own process ongoing. And yeah, so I hope you have fun with that. And I wish you a lovely day, in the illusion or not.